Let's have a talk, let's have a chat, talking about a little this and that. Hello and welcome to another episode of This and That. I am your host, Mary Easterling, and we are continuing on with this Project 2025 thing. This ought to be part 5 for the Project 2025 and part 3 of the Agenda 47. Like I said, there's a lot of agendas in Agenda 47. But before I begin, to listen to the last episode of this series, go to talkingaboutthisandthat.wordpress.com and click on the podcast link. You will also find us on mfeast.substack.com. MF as in Frank, EAS as in Sam, T.substack.com. There will be the written portion and the audiovisual portion. So, continuing on, propositions relating to health care and Social Security includes keeping Medicare and Social Security intact and cutting other federal expenses such as help to foreign countries and eliminating, quote-unquote, mass releases of illegal aliens, left-wing gender programs from our military and climate extremism, unquote. Wait, what? First off, for years, the Republican Party has been eyeing both Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and anything else called the social safety net to remove them. It's only a few $1 billion, but the deficit! Yes, it's taking money out of the pockets of the corporation that the Republican Party serves. Ideological exchange. Used to be the Dixiecrats were after the blacks. Now it's the Republicans after the green. As in, money, money, money. Stuff my pockets with your money. Amen. Because most of them are MAGA, the caloric MAGA. Never ever forget, we also have MAGA Light, the Democratic version. Not so many calories and harder to detect. Oh, I see. This is going to be a spicy, saucy broadcast. Oh, God. So now, cutting other federal expenses, such as help to foreign countries, USAID, part of the World Health Organization. Part of the WHO? Yeah, the WHO. Not the band, the organization. It's how we knew how to deal with COVID and how we knew it was on its way here, maybe. The plague, the Black Death, is still out there. It's just not in our country right now. Yeah, Ebola has made it back in the news again also. Over there, in Africa. I think it's only Africa. Maybe it's spreading. We don't know. We're blind. You know why? Because we cut USAID. USAID. They're giving condoms to black women. We want to just kill them all because they're black. We're racist. We're Republican. We're old school. Some of us are still from the South, and we want to fly our banner and put all you blackies back on the plantations. Considering how we have redeveloped, you idiots, where were you going to stick the cotton fields? You cotton-picking idiots. And I'm talking to the white people, not the blacks. The blacks are the smart ones. They're like, hell no, I'm not picking your cotton. That's what the Mexicans are for. They want the job. Oh, wow. Okay, fine. So, eliminating mass releases of illegal aliens, what you mean the things that are sitting in the internment camps, concentration camps? If they get ovens, they'll be death camp? Oh, wait, they're already death camp. How many people have died? They just got released over to the hospital to die there and then get processed through the mortuary system. Oh, and then left-wing gender programs. Can we say LGBTQ? From our military, the warfighter, roidal, raging, steroidal. I'll pump your guns with steroids. Mwah! Suns up, guns up, and you kill them all. For Jesus, of course. I mean, Hegseth went apocalyptic, giddy as a schoolboy when we went over to Iran. Because he said, this'll start Armageddon! Yeah! Jesus is coming! The guy is trying to Christianize the freaking military. Let me just say something here. When you aim thou, point thou, click thou, and the guy on the other end of your aiming drops dead, you have killed. It does something to you. It does something that's not very nice. You die for every death. For every life you take, you die. You don't come back from it the same. That's why they say war is hell. You don't ever come back from it right. Not even the ones that adjusted. If they saw theater, if they saw the battlefield, they don't come back okay. They're not okay. They've learned to make peace with it, but they're not okay. Because intrinsically our Creator has planted in us this knee-jerk reaction to the killing of another. We're not okay when we do it, unless we were not truly okay to begin with. There's some who just like it. They come back and they're playing the war games, and then they're trying to kill people in the strip malls. I mean, hoorah! Sorry, Marines. Hoorah! Sorry, Army. Tooraloo. Is this sorry, Navy? Maybe. Anyway, leftists, and then climate extremism, as in there's a problem with the climate. We need to do something about our climate. We need to stop the greenhouse emissions, blah, 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 blah. We're making it too hot in our climate. Climate control, green initiatives. But that doesn't give money where my bank accounts are going to make rich from kickback. Drill, baby, drill. Let's just frack those rocks. You know, the more we take the stuff out of the ground, the more problems we're having. There's a little quiet conversation that's starting to get traction about what we're taking out of the ground and the problem it might be producing for the planet. You know, there's also the great something that moves mountains and islands at the same time and occludes the sun, makes the heavens roll up like a scroll, or like taking a thing of paper towels and pulling out a bunch and start rolling it back. And you see that long strip of paper towels slowly disappear while something comes rolling in. That the idea of rolling up like a scroll to put it away is a boiling cloud that occludes the sun. Talking about this and that.wordpress.com, Revelations, Another Look. Go enjoy that series, because there was a time in history where some obscure volcano blew its cork bad enough to give us a 3 years occlusion of the sun. I think it was 512 AD, the worst year in history. Yeah, and this thing went on for 3 years. That may be why the Seven Mountains Mandate thinks we're in the millennial reign now, because of the 512 thing. Okay, fine. No, that was a shot across the bow. All of these things that have happened in our history, folks, that look like apocalyptic are snapshots. This is what it will look like, most likely. This is what you can expect to sort of see. It's this kind of a thing. That's why I keep thinking about volcanism. Yeah, no, let's just keep extracting stuff out of the earth that might be stabilizing the earth, and then let's just see what happens. The more slick you take out of the ground, the more the earthquakes start to pile up, because things don't just trundle along anymore. Oh, wait, what? I don't know. I'm not an expert in tectonic plate theory. I just know that it's a tectonic plate problem that produces this problem. Logically thinking it through, praying about it, thinking about it, reading the book. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So, no thanks to the Iran war, the Republican Congress is wanting to gut Medicare and Social Security, or severely curtail them, as eldercare is the most expensive side of medicine today. Moreover, the idea of left wing is anything that does not meet their quote-unquote Christian standard or their political standard. It goes on, reinstating the ban on environmental, social, and governance, ESG, investment in 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts via executive order. Wait, reinstating the ban via executive order? Oh, remember the expansion of the presidential's powers, an expansion of the executive? Yeah, after a while, the president's executive orders become law. Congress gets dealt out. They just simply go, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Stamp, 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 stamp. House, Senate, House, Senate, House, Senate, House, Senate. And POTUS goes, Yahoo! Sign, sign, la, 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 la. what do you think is happening right now? We want to think the executive orders are not a threat. Every flipping executive order this number 47 is signing is a potential law because of the aid and abetment of the party he's a part of, the RNC. They have power to undo this. They won't. They could be calling for impeachment with conviction and removal. They won't. The general memo to both parties is, we don't touch our boy or girl. We don't touch our seated because we put them there. We're going to back them now. Fine. Investments in 401ks, that's tied to the stock market. Pensions. That's union. Retirement account. Basically, the elderly don't have an income. The elderly don't have Social Security. The elderly don't have medical. We changed the law so hospitals do not have to treat you if you can't pay. Pay to play. Right now, the government says hospitals have to treat you. All we have to do is change that law. Yeah, you just think about that. All we have to do is change that federal mandate. And hospitals that are not being paid just won't treat you. See, the difference between guaranteed treatment and then not having a bill is very big. Guaranteed treatment is not universal health care. It's universal robbery of the medical system. So then it overcompensates by overcharging. Whatever it can get, it will get, because those who get hooked and build and pay the bills are the ones that are paying for all the people who can't and still get treated. It's how they make money. So, okay, and working with Congress to enact a permanent ban on the environmental, social, and governance, the investments in 401ks, pensions, retirement accounts via the executive order, working with the Congress to make it permanent. Told you. Make it a law. Pensions used to be the other income that employees who worked in certain industries or professions were due. Banning the 401k will place all existing funds into the pocket of the president. And grandma and grandpa? Euthanasia. Mandated euthanasia. Why? The federal government goes bust. They can't be serviced. Grandma got a hangnail and they killed her. Nope, Grandma turned 65 and went to the gas chambers. You know they'll spin it as a patriotic duty, and you know the church will step in and make it a, you're going home to Jesus now. I want you to sit with the image of an ecclesiocracy where everybody's a Christian, or at least that's what they think. Until the gas hits them, they flatline and they find out the truth. See, you can say you're green and leafy all day long, but it doesn't make you lettuce, it doesn't make you artichokes, it doesn't make you anything else that's a vegetable and green and leafy. Okay. Establishing a commission of, quote unquote, independent minds who are not bought and paid for by Big Pharma. This sounds great, doesn't it? I mean, I would go for some of this. That's something I would go for. But that's not the plan. We're going to feed Big Pharma. To investigate the rise of chronic illnesses and health problems, especially in children. Here we go. Quote-unquote autism, autoimmune disorders, obesity, infertility, serious allergies, and respiratory challenges. Quote-unquote. Make America healthy again. Remember Robert Bobby POTUS's Bobbin? The Bobbins Kennedy. Bobbin about. He's into all this. Vaccines cause autism. Tylenol will kill your baby. Maybe. What? I mean, if you were going to do this, you would want to do this with people whose minds actually were independent of, I don't know, something. Kennedy sounds like somebody who once dropped acid and didn't learn a damn thing from it. Not a thing. Okay, fine. What? With the person who runs the medical side of government, this will never pan out. To any cures only worsen the hold of Big Pharma on America. And it is. An increase in chronic conditions in children and youth has been observed. Yahoo News observed that Trump does not mention vaccines in the video discussing this policy, but it was a dog whistle to anti-vaccine voters as he was facing Ron DeSantis during the primaries and the possibility of having Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a challenger for the presidency. Oh, wait, right there. On its part, Axios, which is another press company, said that Trump's message could undermine public health, that its language was reminiscent of Robert Kennedy Jr., and that the mentions to Big Pharma appeared in other policies related to education, gender-affirming care, and dismantling the deep state. Okay, let's unpack this a minute. Now, you're going to hear this on the broadcast. You're not going to see it in the writing. He was facing Ron DeSantis, okay? He was also facing Robert F. Kennedy. Then he got Kennedy to drop out and said, yo, bro, you drop out. I don't have to run against you, and I'll make you my medicine man. What did he do? No thanks to RFK Jr., vaccines for childhood disease are now being removed from schedules, and a sharp rise in childhood illnesses has occurred. Measles is just one of them, and polio is back. Hello, iron lung. Big Pharma, and I can't afford my prescriptions, is a dog whistle. It's a talking point. It's a vote for me. Well, we did. Did he really bring down the cost of prescriptions, or was that Biden? Seems Biden had done this, given Medicare power. That's going away in 2027. Your prescriptions are about to go up, Grandma, Grandpa. And guess who else is going on Medicare? I am. Oh, thanks. I have one prescription. It's relatively cheap. It won't be next year. Oh, well. Ever since it was repeatedly reported that Trump said he would cut federal funds from schools with mask and vaccine mandates, raising concerns about whether he referred to COVID-19 exclusively or all vaccines, since all 50 states and Washington, D.C. have laws requiring specific vaccines for students, including measles, rubella, chickenpox, tetanus, pertussis, and polio. Trump spokespeople said it was only about COVID-19, for which no student vaccination mandate exists. He has been dealing with removing the mandates for vaccines in schools, and DeSantis removed them in Florida. In July 2024, an accidentally leaked call from Trump to Kennedy showed the former president questioning the safety of childhood vaccines. It was also reported that Trump and Kennedy had been in conversations about Kennedy giving his endorsement to Trump in exchange for an appointment to his cabinet. Like I said, bro, you drop out, you endorse me, and I'll make you my medicine man. In an interview with Chris Cuomo, Kennedy talked about having conversations with Trump, but denied that he was seeking an appointment. That's right, he did. By the way, measles is back. Guess what else is back? Tetanus. To the listeners of this broadcast, take your money, go to your urgent care, and tell them you would like a tetanus booster. If you're adult, get the tetanus shot, because tetanus is back. It will give you lockjaw. It can kill you. It's a bacterial infection. We have a vaccine for it. Go and get vaccinated. I know it's going to cost you money, but go get it anyway. See if you can't find it at the pharmacies and stuff like that. Maybe you can get vaccinations there for tetanus. Talk to your doctors. Go get vaccinated, because all you have to do is step on something. Used to be you would get a tetanus shot if you stepped on something and got a puncture. On August 23rd, Kennedy suspended his campaign and endorsed Trump. In a rally in Arizona on the same day, Trump presented Kennedy and repeated his quote-unquote pledge to establish a panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and childhood diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more, unquote. Kennedy told how he got in contact with Trump via, quote-unquote, safe food advocate Kaylee Means, and said, quote, our children are now the unhealthiest, sickest children in the world. Do you want healthy children, unquote. After his electoral victory, Trump nominated Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be his Secretary of Health and Human Resources. He also selected Dr. Mehmet Oz to be administrator for Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS. By the way, Mehmet wants both gone. He doesn't see any use for Medicare or Medicaid. Why? More money for us. Can we have more money for us? It's the great grift where anything goes. Dun 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 dun. Anything goes. Oh man. I think Anything Goes is also a broadcast on talking about this and that.wordpress.com. Go look on the podcast page. I think it was even sung by moi. And Casey Means is the Surgeon General of the United States now. Isn't that interesting? Oz is currently pushing to gut both Medicare and Medicaid, seeing them as a waste of governmental funding. Red states will not take up state funding as they are pro-big business and anti-elder care. This means Florida could lose all services for Medicare in 2027. Maybe not, but, well, Jolly did just win the Democratic ticket, but he's got to go up against the Republicans. Now, if we turn blue, things might change. But I guarantee you, we will get nothing from the federal government for the next 2 years in the state of Florida, as if we were really getting it to begin with. Well, not much is going to change then, is it? Or maybe it's time we had a real politician who cared about the state running the state. I don't know. Will Florida be jolly under Jolly? Will we be happy? Well, the wealthy won't be. Hey, Jolly, if you win, pied-to-terre tax for all of the Miami and what's that other very ritzy glitzy upstate city, the Palm Beaches, where they got the money, and their cars go rich when they hit the accelerator? Pied-to-terre tax. I wonder how much we could make statewide. I mean, a mayor did it in his city. Imagine what we could do if we did it in our state. Oh, what? Spicy today. Attempting to reduce drug costs by signing an executive order telling, quote-unquote, Big Pharma that we will only pay the best price they offer to foreign nations. This will force Big Pharma to raise prices on foreign countries and reduce prices very substantially for American patients. Quote-unquote, what? JAMA Health Forum commented on the possible outcome of the 2024 election, saying that it, quote-unquote, will have momentous consequences for the future of health care, unquote. After comparing the records of Trump and Biden regarding the high price of prescription drugs and healthcare services, it said, quote, how Trump would approach drug price negotiations if elected is unclear. Trump supported federal negotiation of drug prices during his 2016 campaign. However, as president, he did not pursue drug price negotiation and opposed the Democratic price negotiation plan. Ellipsis. Even though Trump has been inconsistent in his positions on drug prices, his public comments suggest the possibility of bipartisan cooperation, unquote. Wait, what? Then there's ending, quote-unquote, Joe Biden's pharmaceutical shortages, returning the manufacture of essential drugs to the United States and phasing in tariffs and import restrictions on China. This is a scrambled egg. Let's just face it. We have a hot pan called the sickening, feverish American society, American populace, and Trump is the egg. And all of these programs are scrambling Trump. Oh, wait, no, that's the dementia. They say he might have frontal temporal dementia. Maybe? I don't know. I mean, nobody's talking about it. So, I really don't know. Okay, fine. But Joe Biden's pharmaceutical shortages. Oh, wait, didn't we have a COVID thing? Wasn't there COVID? Didn't we have essential services? So didn't we have also some other things happening that were climate issues? And then what happened? Folks? What happened after that? Didn't we then have some other skullduggeries that happened that caused us to have shortages, supply chain issues because of COVID, because of the shutdown? See, everybody wants to forget Home Alone Together. Hashtag Home Alone Together. The shelter in place, 6 feet between people. Right. So far, the reverse is being done, as Trump is not truly following through on any of his promises. So, propositions relating to immigration reforms include, see also, birthright citizenship in the United States and immigration policy of the second Donald Trump administration. Yeah, no, the Supreme Court barely upheld birthright citizenship, but one justice feels that if Congress makes a law regarding it to make it null and void, that justice would vote against birthright citizenship, even though it is an amendment. A total ban, quote unquote, a total ban on Biden using taxpayer dollars to free illegal aliens and criminal penalties for administrative noncompliance. Signing an executive order, quote unquote, making clear to federal agencies that under the correct interpretation of the law going forward, the future children of illegal aliens will not receive automatic U.S. citizenship. The order will also end, quote unquote, birth tourism and consequent, quote unquote, chain migration. At least one parent will have to be a citizen or a legal resident for the child to qualify for citizenship. Fine, go marry an army person. That's how they've been doing it for years anyway, you ding-dongs. This is based on the, quote-unquote, clear meaning of the 14th Amendment, that U.S. citizenship extends only to those born in and subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Therefore, children of undocumented immigrants, quote-unquote, should not be issued passports, Social Security numbers, or be eligible for certain taxpayer-funded welfare benefits, nor have the right to vote. The irony might be that when a migrant-type immigrant enters a state in the Union, that if they break the laws of that state, they appear to be subject to the criminal jurisdiction of that state, making them subject to the jurisdiction of the state in which they are found in. And if one is born here, in the states they appear to be also subject and accountable under state laws. So the illegality would be for foreign dignitaries? I mean, what part of the baby is coming, honey, makes one think that it won't be born? What they want are white babies. Remember the infertility? The black and the brown people are not being infertile. The whites are. You know why? Contraceptives. You know why? Privileged education telling them this is a shithole to live in. Why would I want to wish this country on my descendants? Oh, wait. And the way that whites think about the family is fractured. It's a cultural thing. No, see, they don't like that brown and black babies seem to outweigh the whites by a lot. Thing is, the whites are wary of having kids in the climate in which they find themselves, so the white privileged education seems to have backfired on white dominance in birth rates. Like I said, they're either not having sex or they're aborting. There's an infertility going on by choice. Ending, quote-unquote, welfare for illegal immigrants and shut down Joe Biden's abuse of parole authority. This includes reinstating the, quote-unquote, action making illegals ineligible for public housing and terminating, quote-unquote, all work permits for illegal aliens. Also, demanding Congress to send a bill, quote-unquote, blocking any future president from abusing his power to distribute welfare benefits in this manner, quote-unquote. CNN commented, quote, should Congress refuse to fund the operation, Trump could turn to a tactic used in his first term to secure more funding for a border wall, redirect funds from the Pentagon, the source confirmed, unquote. After describing the record of Trump's immigration policies from the standpoint of health care, JAMA Health Forum said, quote, they had a chilling effect on access to care and benefits among immigrants, including those lawfully present, ellipsis Trump, has continued these themes in his current campaign, saying welfare is a gigantic magnet drawing people from all over the world, unquote. He's also promised mass deportations, especially in the context of the Springfield pet eating hoax. Do we remember? They're eating the dogs and the cats in Springfield. What? Consider the impact on tourism as this white rhetoric simply continues to erode our economy. This is called the whiting of America. They're trying to do it. I hear it's not working out so well, but I'm not dealing these guys out. They say there will be a blue wave. I think there's going to be a blue trickle and a lot of red paint. I foresee the GOP, by treachery and skullduggery, holding both House and Senate for 2 more years, which they ought not to be able to do. And I see a massive bloodshed coming. The states won't stand for this. If 47 doesn't annex his office at the end of this term, we may have secessions from the Union. We may have an actual all-and-out American Civil War. Congratulations, you MAGA. You're making America gutted again. No, now we need MAGA. We need to make America great again. We actually need this now. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And that will conclude this episode of This and That. So, until then.